Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our Flashback FIFA series, where today we'll be revisiting our FIFA 15 career mode with Aston Villa. If you're not familiar with this series, we'll be loading up FIFA 15 and checking out some of our accomplishments as well as the squad we used in that career mode, and then we're going to be importing the squad like for like and all their statistics into FIFA 20 and then running a simulation to see how that Aston Villa squad would perform in the modern day Premier League. If you enjoy this style of series and want to see more of it, feel free to leave a like on the video to help support the channel, and subscribe if you are new around here. I've been meaning to revisit this career mode pretty much since Aston Villa survived the drop from the Premier League this season in dramatic fashion, but let's check out some of our accomplishments from this series as well as the squad we managed to achieve. Although this career mode was only 2 seasons in length, we achieved quite a bit, winning the Premier League as well as a domestic cup. Starting with the 2014-2015 season, we finished 4th in the Premier League and won the FA Cup. And then in the 2015-2016 season, we were Premier League winners. So that's pretty much all you can ask for out of a career mode, even though it was short in length. As for the squad, I have to say the overall ratings of so many of these players is lower than I remember, but that just goes to show how effective some of these players were for us. Starting with Brad Guzan, he was an original Aston Villa player and we got him to an 81 overall. Although our defense definitely had the lowest overall ratings, they were pretty solid. And starting with Omavi, we brought him in from Nice, and he was a pretty balanced player. Nothing too exciting about him, but solid in his defending stats as well as the pace. Can't ask for much more from a fullback. And then Akore is one of the original Aston Villa players, and back in the day, he had some amazing stats. Just listing off a couple: 74 acceleration, 87 sprint speed, and 90 strength. Pretty much all the key stats you look for in a center back. Unfortunately, his pace has gone down in recent years, but we can reminisce on the golden days of FIFA 15. Moving on to Cher, another center back with a lot of pace, and it's always good when the statistics are in the light and dark green. Finally, we have another American in our starting 11 in DeAndre Yedlin. I believe this was before he made the move to Newcastle. He was still playing for the Seattle Sounders at the time. And he was one of the most popular right back signings in FIFA 15 career mode, mostly because he was so quick. But anyways, moving to our center defensive mid position, we have another original Aston Villa player. I believe he made the move to Burnley in following years, Ashley Westwood. Pretty good at the center defensive mid position. All you really want from a holding midfielder is someone with good defending stats, decent pace, and Westwood did that for us. We sort of predicted a transfer for our next player. Yannick Bolasie was playing for Crystal Palace at the time, but he did have a brief spell with Aston Villa in the ensuing years. Of course, he does have 5-star skills in FIFA 15, which made him a lot of fun to use. On the opposite side, we have Patrick Herman, who another player that has seen his pace gone down a little bit over the years, but back then, he had 92 sprint speed as well as 90 acceleration. Moving on to probably the most recognizable player in our starting 11, Roberto Firmino was still playing for Hoffenheim at the time. I think now he's a little bit more well known for what he does at Liverpool, and surprisingly, he only had 4-star skill moves back in the day. But I think my favorite part about this career mode was our 2 strikers. We'll start with Christian Benteke, and he is another original Aston Villa player, and some of his statistics are just incredible. We'll start with the 90 strength, but also he had a decent amount of pace back then too. 78 sprint speed, 77 acceleration is not bad. From what I remember, he had really good finishing statistics as well at 84. Overall, a very solid striker. We'll round out our starting 11 with another very popular player to sign in FIFA 15 career mode, and that is Yusuf Poulsen. This was the first year he was introduced into FIFA, has seen a pretty considerable upgrade now in FIFA 20. I believe he's in the 80s for his overall, still with RB Leipzig, which is pretty cool to see. But just going through some of these statistics again: 88 acceleration, 90 sprint speed, 81 strength, for a 6'4" striker with 4-star skill moves. Such a unique combination of statistics, which I think is why he was so popular. Also very important to note some of our substitute players. We had some alright players here. Jack Butland, before he started getting a massive upgrade in future FIFAs, he's sort of leveled off now. Bakuna was a very original player in that he could play right back, right mid, as well as center attacking mid. Gary Gardner, I think it was just the way his name goes. It was so fun to use in commentary. Scott Sinclair, another versatile player, listed as a left mid in game, but we actually used him as a center mid because he had so much pace. And then finally, we've got a couple of high potential youngsters in Timo Werner. Jack Grealish, of course, you all will know, back then he was only a 70 overall rating. And I think this was actually the first year he was introduced into FIFA, if I'm not mistaken. still with the Republic of Ireland for his nationality. And then finally, we did bring in Danny Ings from Burnley, who was a very good rotational player for us. Our strikers were pretty stacked already, but with 87 acceleration to 87 sprint speed, he was a great player coming off the bench. I'll quickly show some of our players in the reserves. We did sign a couple of good youth academy players, but really no one too notable here in our reserves outside of David De Gea, who we signed on a pre-contract at the start of season 3. I decided not to include him in our starting 11 because we never actually played season 3 in this career mode, so I didn't see the point in including. But Veretout was pretty good. Tonev was nice in that he has a 5-star weak foot. Chris Smalling as a rotational center back, and then Luna, another rotational player. I think that's going to be it for our time in FIFA 15. Let's go ahead and import our player stats into FIFA 20 and see how this Aston Villa squad performs. Looking through our updated Aston Villa squad, we've had some favorable upgrades to the overall rating. I like our chances in the Premier League because we also have a fairly young squad with the exception of Guzan. Of course, some of these players' potential is also quite high, so we'll see how we do in this first season. And then if we perform pretty well, maybe if we qualify for Europa League or something, then I might run a second season simulation. We'll just have to see. But first, I do want to showcase some of the current Aston Villa players who are playing for different clubs in FIFA 15. Now that I think about it, it's pretty incredible the number of clubs that Pepe Reina has played for over the years. Of course, now he's at Aston Villa in the Premier League, but he was backing up Neuer at Bayern back in the day. And then I think he's also spent some time in the Serie A. El Ghazi originally started this career mode with Ajax, but he eventually made the transfer to Manchester City. He did have 84 potential back then, to be fair, so this isn't a surprising pickup for them. Mings was playing for Ipswich Town, and he only had 76 potential, so I think he's had some favorable upgrades over the years. Matt Targett's another player that has seen some pretty significant increases to his overall end potential in recent FIFAs. Back then, he was only at a 70 overall with a 77 potential. Now I believe his potential is in the lower to mid 80s. McGinn has more or less kept his statistics since he was first introduced into FIFA. In FIFA 15, he was playing in the Scottish League. His default position at left mid, secondary center mid, and center attacking mid, keeping that 4-star skill move as well. But we'll get into our simulation now. For my prediction, I'm going to guess we finish 6th. That might be a bit high considering we're Aston Villa. We're in the Premier League this season, but we accomplished a lot in our own career mode. I don't see why we can't do it again. You know, I wasn't too far off of my prediction. We only finished 3 points shy of Manchester United for that 6th place spot. A very interesting Premier League season, as well as both Manchester City and Liverpool finished on 101 points. Manchester City eventually winning the title on goal differential. Looking at the relegation zone, this is always interesting. Bournemouth, Norwich, and Sheffield relegated. That's not far from the results IRL. It was a pretty early exit for us in the FA Cup as we lost to Chelsea in the 4th round. It was Manchester City who won the competition. And to be fair, a pretty good outing from us in the Carabao Cup as we made it all the way to the semi-final, eventually losing to Wolves on aggregate and penalties. Manchester City did win that competition as well. Looking through our club statistics, it's no surprise that Benteke was our top goal scorer with 19 from 42 appearances. Both Poulsen and Firmino were also in double digits. Moving on to the assist category, nice outing from Westwood with 10 assists. And then a couple players here with Benteke and Firmino with 6. Unfortunately, I won't be able to give a proper overall growth comparison due to the way that the live editor works, but I'll do some sort of animation to show some of our overall growth over the course of this season. I can tell you right off the bat that Firmino saw some good growth this year. I believe he went up +2 to an 86. Herman went up by a few, as well as Veretout. Since we didn't qualify for any continental competitions next season, I think I'm just going to do the 1 season simulation. But if there are any other career mode clubs that you want me to revisit, I think we've covered most of the ones that I've done on YouTube. Do let me know in the comments section below. I'm happy to do more of these flashback FIFA episodes here in the summer months as we approach FIFA 21. But if you did enjoy the video today, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to y'all again soon.